Welcome back, friends. It's a little early, but happy Halloween. I figure I wear a more spooky shirt here, this is a pretty cool shirt from Yeti that you can't get anymore. So one thing that's unfortunate is they just can't give me the old stuff, which, if they could, I would just be buying all the Kirby shirts. So, it's been a week, and there's interesting, what's the word here, juxtaposition on how my week went and how a certain week went for a certain country. Um, First up, channel stuff. Halloween's almost here. There's going to be a Halloween episode for the podcast because it's going to cover the Halloween episodes for Kirby Right Back At You. It's a two-parter Halloween episodes, and yeah, it's going to be out on the 31st, so look out for that. It will be only on the sound side for now because we're still catching up on the anime side. We should have episode 20 on the anime side by November, and Kirby Star Stacker by November, and hopefully I can get another one out in December. Well, episode 20 is the snow episode, so it wouldn't be bad if it went out in December, but I'd rather get it out sooner, just because we've already put it out. It's just to catch up on the YouTube side, that's all. So hopefully 20 will be out by November, and Star Stacker will be out in November as well. And I gotta get one more out for December, so I wanted to get Kirby Buffet out, but I don't know if I will. If I don't get Buffet out, maybe I will get out, besides episode 21, what's the word I'm looking for here? Either a light novel for December, or it is Buffet. Like, one of those two for December. The next year will be Kirby's Dream Land 3, and I think it's Superstar Stacker as well. I want to try to get 2 games out next year, and some more anime episodes out. Like, catch up some more, and then do another anime episode, then catch up some more, and things like that. We got a long way to go. It's a long road. And this thing, we are very much the long game here because me and Jynx both have jobs. We work a lot, and we only have so much time to edit things. That's just how it be with that. So, where do I start here? Do I talk about genocide first? Or do I talk about how great a week I had? That's the weird thing, because here's the thing, and this is the bigger picture about it, is everything's happening at all times. Great things are happening for some people, and the worst things possible are happening to some people. And that's just the spectrum of life and humanity as well. And just things. That's it. And you can feel very powerless in that. You can feel very powerless in what's going on in the world. And very much so we are for the most part. The only advantage we have is our numbers. That's all we've got. I think I said that before, is the protests are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and eventually they will get big enough. The problem is by the time the protests get big enough for the ceasefire, there's going to be so many lost lives. It's very unfortunate. Rage has run its course by this point. And I think the world powers are where they're at, and that's where they're going to be. But the populace is not there. Very much, a lot of the populace is extremely anti-Israel after all this. No, let's say not that anti-Zionist for sure. But, no, screw it, anti-Israel, anti-Zionist for sure. Anti-Semitic, I will not go that far, but I'm sure some will become that now because of this, especially the Palestinians. It's very much innocents getting bombed at this point. It's not a war. It was never a war. It's always been just a clapback, a very, very aggressive clapback. Just been a backlash. That's all it's been. And holy crap, have they just been going? I can't believe it's gone another week. I thought after the hospital happened that they would calm the F down. But no, it's still going, and we see footage every day of it. It's just ridiculous. It very much is. And I can't believe it's still going. I just can't. And I can only see this coming back to bite them. That's all I can see. Because eventually, it's the people who are witnessing all this at a younger age will become adults. and it's just going to keep going. But I don't think root and stem is ever going to work out. It just isn't, because it won't just breed detractors from that country. It's just breeding detractors from everywhere. That's the thing. Israel has handled being attacked from everyone around them because of the U.S.'s help. But there's a point when I don't know if the U.S. is going to keep backing this. I don't even know how we're still backing this. This is honestly a test of us. Like, I don't know how the hell we're still okay with genocide. I don't get it. I don't know how that's happening, but it is, and that's crazy. Just crazy. And now, how do I transition to the most amazing week I've had in a while? That's the question here. Like, we cannot control. Actually, this is also just a point with a show right now where, like, there's a crisis in a show, some things are going very crazy, and half the team is working on the situation while the other half there's nothing they can really do. So the other so that half, one guy's like, all right, well, let's just let's go eat or just do something, like go just do something enjoyable for now. Another character is just mad at them for that, and it's just like, well, what are you gonna do? You could brood, or you could just get yourself in better spirits. What's the problem here? It's like, regardless of anything, it's like you have family in surgery, and they're in surgery, and you're stressed the hell out, but another family member's like, all right, let's go have dinner. And you're like, well, how can you have dinner? Like, our family member might die. Like, it's like, yeah, and the thing is, yeah, and because there's nothing we can do about it. The experts are at play right now. You can either stress yourself to death, or you can just keep the machine going. And honestly, it's just, a full belly's better prepared for tragedy than an empty belly, Also, a full belly is better prepared to just do whatever needs to be done than an empty belly. Higher spirits better than lower spirits. I don't know. That's the way I'll put it. Like, you go military, morale is extremely important. Maintaining morale is very important. If maintaining morale is eating, then go eat. If maintaining morale is making jokes in a horrible situation, then go make jokes. That's the whole thing. Spider-Man making quips. Making quips to stay alive. What can I do about Palestine? So the only things I can do is sign petitions and go to marches. There's no marches right now. At least not at the moment. At least not when I'm not working. All the marches have been while I'm working, which is annoying. On the backdrop of genocide, Scarf has had an amazing week. Worded that way, I don't know. So I had to go to a conference for water. I went to the conference for water because I was going to do a speech there. It was just, not a speech, but like a class on water, just like, here's the water process, and just here's all the things for the process, and the fail points, and this and this and this. And the thing I wanted to focus on the most was troubleshooting. So I'm like, let's do an hour of troubleshooting. It was like, bad thing happens, what do you do? Bad thing happens, what do you do? Bad thing happens, what do you do? Just keep going. Because that's the most important in my opinion. It's like, bad thing happens, what are the regs that you're worried about? What's the situation that's happening? Like, all these things, figure it out and get it done. The way I put it was, survey, gather, plan, execute. That's the way I put it. It's like, survey the situation. What is the situation? What is the extent of the situation? Gather information. All right, what can we do about the situation? And then it's just plans. Like, okay, here's what we're gonna do about the situation, and then execute it. Do the plan. That's the way I see it. If a pipe bursts, let's say you might not know this. There's a pump pumping chemical, and a pipe bursts on that line somewhere before or after the pump. It becomes, okay, there's a pipe burst, things are leaking, all right, what is the extent of this burst? What is it damaging? How much is it damaged? And obviously it's like, isolate that. So turn off the source of that leak. So be it turn off the pump, closing valves, or closing the valve to the tank that is supplying all that, or whatever. Just closing that. It's like, okay, that's closed. All right, what's the extent of the damage? Okay, gathering information. What can we do with this situation at this point? Can we still run the plant despite the situation or not? Figure that out. And it's like, all right, well, we need to clean up this chemical. We need to repair this pipe. Who do we have that can do that? Plan out how we're going to do that, and then execute. That there you go. That's what would happen. And it also depends where that pipe burst is. If a pipe bursts before the pump, but if it's isolated to the pump, you can always switch to the other pump. In water treatment, there's always two pumps. There's two of everything. But there are single points of failure where things are shared. So it depends on what's happening. Where, like, the way I see it is, you have your tank of chemical, and it goes down and eventually splits into two pipes, and each pipe goes to a different pump, and those pumps each have their own shot to a single pipe. Eventually, they combine to a single pipe again, and that goes over to wherever the chemical needs to go. So your single point of failures are at the source and where it's getting distributed. As long as you don't have a pipe break at those spots, you can switch over. You have a pipe break at the single points, then you need to shut down the plant for a minute and make them repairs. Obviously, you should have replacement pipes on hand at any time for those situations. And we have plenty of pipe. Pipe is not hard to store. It's more pumps. Machinery is a lot harder to have more of. Because the whole world's being supplied with these pumps. You know, like the whole country needs these pumps. So there's a lot of pumps available, but there's also a lot of pumps being bought. And so because of the pandemic, there's not as much manufacturing as well. But yeah, depending where the situation is what you do. And so that's just the whole thing. Like, yeah, survey, gather, plan, execute. That's just the way I see it. Survey the situation, gather intelligence, plan for how you're going to deal with it, and then execute that plan. I think that works very well. And then after that, it was just lots of classes. So what I like about this conference was the classes are 30 minutes to an hour long. And when your classes are 30 minutes, they get to the point. They don't waste time with preamble. I love that. So I was just learning things. I was learning about PFAS. I was learning about how we're dealing with PFAS in the water, how we're monitoring it, how we can take it out. Looks like the big way to do it is on exchange, which is interesting. And then going over new regulations the EPA is putting out. They're putting out more lead and copper rules, which is great because I need to learn that for the T5. Putting out like PFAS regulations are coming out. So I told Jynx, like, hey, the US is doing regulations for PFAS in 3 years. And he's like, oh, great, we've been doing it for 10 years already. I'm like, wow, we're behind the ball. Jeez, okay. Well, we got someone to learn from. That's the best way to put it. And then we just learned about like stuff like chromium, hexavalent chromium removal and things like that. Like removal is transformation. Some other lessons. And then we sat into like some interview classes so I can get better at that. And management stuff. And did a lot of learning. That's important. Did a lot of learning. Sat for some roundtables to learn more in general. I learned some interesting pumping and pipework stuff, which is complicated, but like the shorthand takeaways I took, I'm like, oh, these are good. I'm gonna look at the pipework when I get back home and see if we're making any mistakes in our pipework. And so that's cool. And then just met vendors and met a lot of vendors. And one vendor, met vendors and got like free deals for my plant. They're like, yeah, we're doing free sampling. Like we can sample your filter media and tell you what's in it for free. And it's like, it's their way of doing, like, it's a demo. It's them doing a demo, so you can be like, oh, that's impressive, then we'll use them in the future. That's what it is. And just there was, like, pipe dudes and hydrant people, and clay valve was there, which clay valve is pretty cool. And then there's one company called Tetra Tech. I'm just advertising them for a second because of what happened. So they had a thing where it was like, make this putt. You'd entered a chance to win a thing. And so I entered into that, and here's the prize bag, and here's what's in the prize bag. Yeah, I won this. Crazy. It's crazy. Put it back in the bag later. Won a freaking Nintendo Switch OLED. OLED. Call it OLED. That'll probably know Jynx. I want an OLED. An OLED. Let's see. I thought the OLED was the light. Didn't realize it's not the light. It's actually better. So great. Yeah, so now I have a switch for the computer, and then I have a switch for being around. So apparently OLED's just better at mobile side of things. So that's cool. That's cool. I'm handheld, whatever the way to put it. Yeah, just a bunch of classes. There was also food, and there were. This is the thing. In my part of water, it's just dudes, all dudes, nothing but dudes. But there was actually some ladies at this thing. Like, damn, and they're all, of course, like not in my section of water. They're like the management side or the engineering side, while I'm over in the operating side. I was like, oh, I would never meet these ladies anyway. And they're from all over the states. Like they're from California, Nevada, so they're all over the place. Like there's some ladies here, all married, by the way. It was just like, well, that doesn't help me in any way. I was ring checking the whole time, ring checking everywhere. I was like, just, hey, nice to meet you, nice to meet you, and then ring check, got a ring on it, ring check, ring check. I was doing that every time. Now my buddy was doing the same thing. Now what was interesting was, he used that as a piece of conversation. It was like calling it out as an interesting thing to do. He was like, so where's your husband? Like he did that every time. It's like, where's your husband at? He kept using that. I'm like, I don't know if I call that out. I think he's like, all right, that's happening. So not going for flirting, just going for knowledge gathering now. Like see what they're about and see if there's anything I can learn from them. And it was just free drinks all over the place. So I was there, my boss was there, one of my coworkers was there, and they're they both pounded a lot of drinks, so many drinks. I was like, I'll drink now and then to keep up a little bit. And they were judging me. I'm like, look, I don't care about your judgment. I'm just not a drinker, and I don't actually care. But I'll drink every now and then because of peer pressure. But I'm not going to take myself to a crazy place with it. I just don't care. They were getting drunk. Like, one coworker was just doing margaritas and Coronas all day. All day. Here's the thing. So Vegas is like my dad's playground, so he's there all the time. He's there right now. He was there while I was at the conference. He's still there. And he has, because he knows a lot of people, he has access to free drinks all day. So I'm like, all right, just link up with my dad. You guys can get drunk as much as you want. So they were just getting drinks after drinks after drinks because of my father. And I got a couple. And it was their first time in Vegas, so I showed them the high roller, I showed them the sphere, I showed them as much of the strip as I could. And they had a great time. And that's the thing about my families. We like being hosts. We like showing people a great time. That's why I do content creation, because I like entertaining people. And I just kept winning. I just kept winning and winning. I was winning at the tables. I was winning at slots. I was just winning everywhere. And in front of my coworkers, so they think I'm actually good at gambling. It was a good week. It was a lucky week. I just kept winning. To the point where I was like, I'm going to go win some more money. And I did. Like, I just kept winning money. I didn't lose. I kept winning. I only lost last night because, like, you know what? I'm up $2,000. Let's get a little aggressive. Now I'm only up 15. Aggressive didn't work out. Playing it slow was working out all week. Because it was like, gamble, go do classes, there's a break, gamble, go do classes, gamble, go do classes. Classes are done, just go drink and gamble with coworkers. And then the same thing repeated the next day and the next day and the next day. And I just kept winning as I was just doing things piecemeal. Just kept winning that money. Good time. It's a good time. Winning money, winning that switch, getting a bunch of things for work. It's also interesting to learn in our piping, in the city pipes, all across the world, you mostly have pipes in like PVC, steel, or iron, like cast iron or steel or PVC. And a lot of old pipes are lead, so they're replacing those. And a lot of old pipes are also asbestos, and they're replacing those. And there's copper lines as well. But the interesting thing is there's just a big old rivalry between iron and steel. I found very interesting. What I also found interesting is what iron's doing right now is they're doing this interesting coupling setup where normally when you couple pipes, what you'll do is you take a pipe, you put in another pipe. Well, you put them next to each other, and then you put a thing around it to couple them together. It's just called a coupling. You couple them together, and you smooth out the pipe ends, and then you put material in between the coupling and the pipe ends so that it all sticks together and water can't get through. But what iron is doing is they just make a big opening at the end of their pipe, and you put the other pipe in there, and then they have this material that you put in. They have like a little bit of lip at the top. You put material in the top, and it fills all the sides in, and that's how they do it. And now it's tight in there, but there's wiggle room so the pipe can wiggle around if you need to give it some angle. I'm like, that is interesting. And the reason for that is it helps with seismic issues, which is earthquakes, which is a California thing. Oh, I also learned something interesting. San Diego is on top of like just a gigantic brick of granite. So San Francisco can have an earthquake and sink into the sea. LA can have an earthquake and sink into the sea. San Diego cannot sink into the sea. It's just not possible. We're staked into the ground while the other two are not, which is very interesting to learn that. So that makes me feel extra safe for sure. Yeah, won a lot of money. I didn't mention the food. Had way too much decadent food. Like, my intestines have been unhappy with me. I think because I have not binged like this in a while. I had Korean barbecue every night, and every night I didn't have Korean barbecue. I had the most decadent, amazing steak dinner ever, and then I went to tapas, which is like tapas, Brazilian all you can eat. So that was good. I was just having amazing food. I had like filet mignon, dry aged ribeye, amazing lamb. I had like I had amazing everything. I had amazing everything. Vegas is a weird place to pick up chicks because like everyone's there. So like it feels like you can only pick up for short term. It's like there were some nice girls out there that I met. Like, oh, you're very friendly and nice and everything. But I'm only here for like a couple days. So I can't make any real moves here. There was a lot of just here's the thing, it's hard to tell if someone's actually into you or if they're a prostitute. That's the hard part. I'm going on a tangent. I'm not gonna go any further on that tangent. I'm just thinking about it because there were some nice ladies out there. And it was just hard to know if I'm just having a friendly conversation or if I'm getting scoped out. Also, because I had $2,000 on me, I was like, okay, I got too much money on me. If things go south, I'm in a bad spot. That's it. I went too long. I went way too long. So that is the vlog. That's what's been going on. I don't know what I'm talking about next week. This genocide gotta stop. We can't keep going with that. Something on the news just popped up. Let me see. Man, there's also the shooter in Maine. Jesus Christ. What is going on? Oh, okay. So the U.S. has moved on. We're busy talking to China about things. That's great to know. We're not talking to Israel anymore. I know there's a lot of things going on in the world, so you have to deal with a bunch of different plates. But geez, I can't believe this is still going, and we're acting like it's nothing. Like a lot of people are acting like nothing's going on, which is just crazy, freaking crazy. It's very unfortunate. You got the main shooter happening, and it's very troubling how old hat everything becomes for people. It's very troubling. It really is. High note. There's no high note to end it on. Scarf's got money. Which, you know what I mean? Scarf's buying more Kirby's. That's the thing. There's a lot of guilt brewing inside me. Like, what else can I do about Gaza? It's like, I can't really do shit about Gaza. All I can do is really feel, like, depression over it. And, like, but it's always like, well, how much depression should I be having? Like, it's not doing them any good. It's not doing that country any good. Me being depressed doesn't do anyone any good. Me being depressed. Like, what can I actually do to help? And that's like, honestly, it's just talk about it. Talking about it's the best you can do. Protesting if you can. If that's actually a thing in your area, you can go do that as well. Signing petitions. You know the problem with signing petitions is the people in power will just say, "Oh, that's all bots." Like that's the problem. That's why protests are in a way better in that they can actually visually see all those people. But you know, psychopaths will say, "Oh, that's all CG." Like it'll just get or sociopaths. One or the other or both. I don't know. The worst people will say that's just something. That's just something. That's just something, and it doesn't mean anything. The only way is to like physically make them know that you exist. And that's getting harder and harder because the powerful side of the world is getting more insular. It's just harder to reach them. So I don't really know where the resolution is because it looks like they were the one to root and stem, but that's just not going to work. That's just going to cause an even worse catastrophe to show up later on down the line because the children of what's happening, they're not going to let this stand. Who would? That's it. That's the vlog. I had fun. Hope you have fun watching. That's what's all about, isn't having fun. Like bye, and see you next time. Bye, 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 bye.